So this was one of the more bizarre matches I had the other day. Basically, it's just the spill that did not trigger at least 3 of my trap. It was very weird. And I'll show you what I mean. You see that trap I just placed? You'll see the spill come to this trap and not trigger it until he moved a bit towards it after dropping the pallet. It was very odd how he was avoiding them. It could have been due to him just hugging the objects so closely that he's just slightly out of the trigger range of the traps. But I can't even explain this one trap that I set at the crane that he also managed to avoid, and I'll show you that one a little bit later in the video. So anyway, I just set up mostly by pallets in a shack and such. I find the bill first. And he was assuming that I would swing through the pallet and I didn't, so I was able to get a free hit on him. You see that? Like, he just barely avoids the trigger range of that trap. And you can see the trigger range of the trap. Like, I'm not too sure how he was avoiding it. I did make a big mistake here by deciding to teleport. I didn't think he would be able to recover fast enough to vault over it, but he manages to do that 2 or 3 times during the rounds. So if I just had played the mind game trap like the way it was supposed to, I probably would have been able to get him down at some point in the round, but I didn't. So anyway, kind of lost the chase with him. He goes to a part of the map I haven't even gone to yet, so I just decided to trap a little bit over there. Then I continue back towards the middle, seeing if anyone's gonna come to that gen, and then I check yeah, this one. And I noticed the Jake, just crouching at the gen for a free easy hit. I was just seeing if that guy returned to the gen after I hit the Jake. Jake triggers one of my traps. And I pretty much just demolished this particular survivor pretty quickly, as you'll see. But I kinda had to, because by the time I had him dead, it was just 1 gen. Yeah, I had a pretty rough start on this game. Anyway, I decided to try to think about where the rescuer and the Jake might go. So I trapped this pallet, and it's by the school bus between the jungle gym and the bus as a possible, like crossway. I knew that this gen blew up earlier, so I knew there were people over here. I decided to start setting a couple traps on this side of the map by trapping by the window. As you notice, they unhooked the Jake, so I naturally do go back. I was able to get the Jake with this trap just in time before he threw it down. I think it's easier for the survivor to vault than it is to throw a pallet down at those kind of traps. But yeah, I didn't really keep much pressure on the lodge side of the map very much, which I think it did kind of hurt me in the end. But I was able to kill off the Shake really quick, so. Yeah, the Shake was a little bit derpy. And no one was taking any chases for him, so he just had to die. But yeah, people weren't really setting off most of these traps, actually. because I wasn't getting into very many chases. I misjudged the lunge on this one. I definitely should have had a hit there. I was definitely being a bit of a potato this game. So I did learn from my mistake. I did try to set the trap a bit closer to the object so he wouldn't be able to avoid it so easily. He somehow, I guess he somehow knew about that trap there. Or he might have just had sprint bursts and knew better not to waste the pallet, so I just let him go there and decided to pressure the gen. I do notice the guy that was crouch walking at that gen, so I do go back after breaking the pallet to try to catch him off guard from a different angle, and it worked. It was the no either person. Yeah. Yeah, he had no idea where I was because I teleported. A trap did go off, but this is a no either guy, so I didn't really want to slug him for obvious reasons. But yeah, this was a kind of an odd round. No one was really, the Bill was running around, but no one else really. And the Bill didn't learn from his mistake from earlier, so he just ran through the pallet expecting me to swing anyway, and I do so. Anyway, this trap is very weird. Like, you can see the trap radius definitely covers where he ran, more or less. But it did not go off, like, I guess she just hugged the object so much that it was just slightly outside the trap's range, and that hurt me immensely, because I could not get a free hit on him. And although I leave him anyway, because someone rescued him. He forgot that I set the trap there. He somehow manages to avoid that trap again. It was just very strange, this game. And it goes off only when he throws down the pallet. Very odd. And I made the same mistake again, where I just teleported instead of waiting for him to make his move. If I had been a little bit more attentive when it comes to those kind of traps, I would have been fine, probably. Anyway, the David manages. I did guess right with this trap at the jungle gym, like as a possible pathway. So I was able to get the no either guy, fortunately. Now I was just checking this door. And I do find Bill at the door. Nothing I can really do about that. And he actually, well, almost looked like he screwed up, but he didn't. Then I find this guy set off a trap. And I noticed that the Phantasm was looking towards the shack, so I knew the guy didn't run back to the gate. Which wasn't the greatest decision on his part. Because I just get an instant down on him. I don't think he even had BT. I was just able to follow this guy and get him. So it did end up in a 3K, despite how sloppily I played. And the slippery Bill, God, like he managed to avoid triggering like 3 or 4 traps. Or even if he did trigger them, it was only after he dropped the pallet, which was unfortunate for me, because then he could just fast fold over the pallet, and that takes I think that takes less animation time than it does to throw down the pallet, and I think from the nature of the iframes, the survivor's a bit more safe if they vault the pallet in that scenario. It was very weird. So I had kind of mixed feelings at the end of the match. I didn't really feel like I deserved the 3k. I thought I, like, maybe deserved the 2k at most. But it was an alright game. It was a very interesting one. And I actually, like, talked to the Bill, like, damn, you're, like, really good at avoiding my traps. And he kind of just, kind of shook it off. Like, yeah. He thought he was a god at the game. But really, he made quite a few mistakes. It's just that I made mistakes on top of his mistakes. And wasn't able to down him. Very interesting. Yeah, see here, because I'm pro MLG, yeah boy. But yeah. Because you generally don't want to just vault over the pallet when you set up a trap. You want to run away from the hag, but he didn't do that. So, it was a good game.